This is the first in a short series about common problems that you get with porous building materials. So when we're talking about porous building materials, we're talking about surface materials that have little pores, little holes in them. So things like natural stone or concrete paving or even terracotta or saltillo, things like poured concrete floors or terrazzo, anything basically that has pores in it that is used as a surfacing material. So this is number one in the series. So today we're going to talk about efflorescence. Right, so what is efflorescence? Before we go any further, let's just show you a quick picture. So efflorescence is the white residue that you see on this picture. It looks almost like a white powder on the surface. Now, the way efflorescence occurs is from water traveling through your porous material. So let's say, for instance, you have some concrete paving that's outdoors, and the ground underneath it is wet. As the top surface dries out from this exposure to the sun and the air, you will find that water will be sucked up towards the top surface. When it reaches the top surface, the water itself evaporates, and all the minerals that are dissolved in the water actually get left behind on the top because they don't go with the evaporated water. They can't travel in a gaseous form. So the water bubbles up to the top, and the water evaporates, and it leaves all those minerals behind. And they usually show up like that white residue in the picture. Here, we'll show it to you one more time. Now, the biggest problem with efflorescence is when it's fresh, it just literally is a powder that's deposited on the surface, and you can actually use just a very stiff bristle brush to brush it off dry. Some minerals, not all minerals, but sometimes minerals, when they are left exposed to the air, will actually change their form and become very hard, and then you will have the same white film that you see, but it'll actually be impossible to brush off, and it'll be just sometimes, in some circumstances, as hard as the stone or even harder. And then it's a real pain to remove. You have to use either very strong acids, which can also damage your surface depending on what type of surface it is, particularly acid-sensitive surfaces you just can't. Or otherwise you have to grind it off, literally take a diamond abrasive and grind off that efflorescence. So the most important thing to know about efflorescence is that it is better to stop it from happening than to try and fix it afterwards. And in order to do that, you need to seal it with the right kind of impregnating sealer. Now, there are plenty of impregnating sealers in the market, but most of them will not penetrate deep enough into the material and create a permanent bond in the material, so they're not actually going to stop it from happening. To stop it from happening, you want to keep the water well below the surface, so you want something that's going to penetrate in, make a deep water repellent barrier, and as the water's coming up, it can only reach there, it can't get any further, and doesn't get anywhere near the visible surface of the stone. All those minerals will be left below the stone or underneath or inside the stone, and they won't come and be deposited on the top where they can cause that unsightly problem, which is so hard to remove.